Endangered one. Noah Blackwood sat in a leather chair behind a huge rosewood desk in his well-appointed cabin. The Endangered one, like Endangered 2, was considered a research ship by his adoring fans, but in reality, it was a 273-foot luxury yacht Noah used almost extensively for entertaining influential guests and smuggling rare animals into the United States. But this voyage is a little different, he thought, and smiled for the first time in an hour, which was how long it had taken him to read Anna Mika's dossier, emailed to him by his very private and well-paid investigators. Thinking about his investigators caused a frown to reappear. He was going to have to do some reorganization when this was all over. It was his investigator's job to make certain that people like Anna stayed away from him. He was surprised they'd had the goal to attach the dossier. The document was a testimony to their complete incompetence. Anna was friends with Sylvia and Timothy O'Hara, Wolf and Ted, a fact that had not appeared in any of their dossiers. And she had been stalking Noah for not days, not weeks, not months, but years. Like Butch, Noah also had a to-do-away-with list, but this was much, much longer. On the bright side, a number of people on his list were together aboard the Kolonkov, and he had enlisted some professional help to cross them off it. He switched on the computer's webcam, and a live, high-definition picture of his famous face appeared on the flat screen. Except for the scowl, he liked what he saw. The fact that E-Wolf and NZA were on a secret expedition for a giant squid was perfect for Noah's purposes. The only reporter within 100 miles was aboard the Kolonkov, and since she was on his list, she would be taking the information for her article to the bottom of the sea with her, hysterical lungs filling with salt water. By the time anyone figured out that the Kolonkov had disappeared from the face of the earth with all hands on board, Noah would be back at the Seattle Ark holding a press conference about the tragic loss of his dear colleagues. It was a low priority, but if they succeeded in catching a giant squid before he scuttled their ship, he might try to put the 11th in the moon pool on Endangered 2. Then make the ultimate sacrifice of giving it back to NZA, thus removing any suspicion of his having anything to do with the loss of the ship and crew they're hired. When NZA went bankrupt, which he would make certain happened, he would get the giant squid back and put it on exhibit in his own park. "Come see Archimedes at the Ark," he whispered. "That's good," he thought. The smile returned. He clicked the webcam record icon. "Wildlife first," he said in his melodic, hypnotic voice. This was Northwest Aquarium's expedition, not mine. I was only there in a support role in the event that they needed my expertise. I'm giving them the giant squid because, frankly, their facility is better suited for this amazing creature than the aquarium I currently have at the Ark. We are and always will be on the same team. Wildlife first. Noah knew that the competition would be short-lived, and a few weeks after the squid splash at NZA, the Ark would make a splash of its own in the form of 2 baby dinosaurs, which would cause the fickle public to forget all about Archimedes. He replaced the soundbite and liked what he saw and heard. He walked over to the window and looked at Endangered 2, twice as big as Endangered 1, anchored a few hundred yards away. Unlike the Kolonkov, both of his vessels were beautiful inside and out. Butch still didn't know how Wolf was going to catch a giant squid, but in his email he said that the rumor was that they were going to somehow lure it into the moon pool with the dolphins. Butch had learned a great deal about how to keep a giant squid alive from one of the scientists aboard the Kolonkov. Right now, Noah's technicians were retrofitting their moon pool to accommodate the denizen of the deep. Travis Wolf and Ted Bronson would not spend the money or the time to go after a giant squid unless they were reasonably confident they could bring one in. They had no doubt come up with some brilliant yet simple capture method that Noah hadn't thought of, meaning that Ted Bronson had come up with the method. When this was all over, with Travis dead and E-Wolf in ruins, Noah was going to go after Ted Bronson. Ted was not on his to-do away with list. Noah wanted Ted alive and well and working for him, like his taxidermist, Enrico. Noah hadn't seen Ted since he and Wolf brought in the great white and kept it alive in Ted's shark box. He was a painfully shy, distracted geek and totally dependent on Travis Wolf. Noah had heard from his spies on Kryptos that Ted had turned into a complete recluse, never leaving the Quonset hut where he came up with his marvelous inventions. Without Wolf, Ted was just another mad scientist. Without Ted, Wolf was just another twisted cryptid hunter. But together, and this was yet one more thing that irritated him about the self-righteous Travis Wolf. If he knew about Enrico, Wolf would be outraged. He would probably try to free him from the basement, and yet Wolf had his own Enrico in the form of Ted Bronson. Enrico was happy in the basement creating works of art for Noah. Ted Bronson was happy in Quonset hut inventing things for Wolf. There was absolutely no difference in Noah's mind, except that Wolf was too much of a coward to admit that he used people to benefit himself. Noah decided he would fly to Kryptos with Grace immediately after the Kolonkoth went down. He would collect her things and make Ted Bronson an offer he could not refuse. With Wolf dead, Noah Blackwood, as Grace's grandfather and legal guardian, would own Travis's half of E-Wolf's assets, including Kryptos Island and every invention Ted Bronson had ever come up with. Ted would have to come over to Blackwood's side or lose everything. Noah could hardly contain his glee at this prospect. In a few days, he would have a pair of dinosaurs, an island, and most brilliant inventor since Leonardo da Vinci, and his granddaughter. He strolled over to the other window and looked out at the broken-down Kolonkoth, knowing full well they were in turn staring at his two ships. His smile broadened. What they didn't know was that soon there would be a third vessel. And it was this third vessel that would take them down. History was going to repeat itself. The Kolonkoth was indeed a bad luck ship.